Hi there, folks. My name's NovaWin24, and welcome to a long overdue and fun-filled episode of the Three Grumpy Simmers. And of course, it would not be an episode of the Three Grumpy Simmers without my two fellow other Grumpy Simmers. Of course, starting with down the bottom there, Sergio from HeliSimmer.com.
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
And of course, continuing on with the Tomcat aficionado and expert in all things of a new simulator, particularly with a shiny airplane that he's been asking for we won't even say how many years, Mr. Belgiard.
Hashtag cat for every sim. Yeah.
You're actually
working on it.
You're actually
Working on it.
it's finally come to pass. You have, well, not quite yet. You almost have a Tomcat for every sim. I am...
Almost. Almost.
uh,
Almost.
So, folks, we are here. It has been, first off, apologies to everybody for the length of time since our last episode, because a lot has happened in the simming world and the sim nation that we do want to sort of go back and we want to have a bit of reflect on the things that are coming, the things that have come to pass, and the things that are coming up, because all of us have been stupendously busy with creating and making content, and just general with life as well, because apparently even with a pandemic, life continues. So we're going to take a bit of time. We're going to take a bit of your time today to be able to reflect on the state of the sim nation. I'm going to borrow that phrase from another fellow YouTuber. And you know what? Because we've started off with that discussion point around the Tomcat and Tomcat for every sim, I'm going to start with you, Mr. Belgio, because the sheer unadulterated joy reaction that we got from you when there was a certain announcement made from Laminar Research recently meant that somebody got really, really excited. I could feel the excitement from the other side of the world.
I'm pretty sure the entire freaking internet felt my excitement that day. All right, so let's roll it back for the viewers who may or may not know.
No one noticed. Come on, no one noticed.
May or may not know what happened.
Yeah.
So, back in, when was it, September? Yeah, September. Of course, they had the Flight Sim Expo, and this year it was in San Diego. None of us could make it, by the way. None of us could have gone out there. Just wasn't happening for whatever reasons, realistic, logistical, whatever you want to call it.
My country was still like Fortress Australia, and you
Trapped
couldn't
in
leave.
its country, and
anyway.
me, I'm like, that it just wasn't happening, and Sergio wasn't coming over. But of course, with this year's Flight Sim Expo, they thought ahead. They decided they were going to not only have it in person in San Diego, but they were also going to have it online. And of course, as anybody who's ever been to a Flight Sim Expo or, seen like our coverage over the years of the Flight Sim Cons and eventually the Flight Sim Expos knows, it usually ends up being the Laminar Research show. So Laminar Research has
no, it's the Austin show. It is. It's not Laminar Research. It's
really
the Austin show.
So Laminar Research has their usual 1 hour or so reveal or whatever it is that they want to talk about for whatever iteration of X-Plane it is that they're working on for that particular year. And of course, the big news coming out of San Diego was the fact that we're finally getting the next numerical iteration of X-Plane. So we've had all this time X-Plane 11 up to, what are we up to now? 11.55. So those have been like little incremental versions of X-Plane. Well, we're finally moving forward to the next number. So we're actually going to have X-Plane 12. Now, bear in mind, at the time of this recording, we still have no idea when we're going to get it. So if you ask, especially if you pop it in the comments, well, when is X-Plane 12 coming? We don't have any inside information. We're going to give you the same
Actually,
answer
no.
that we give everybody in the DCS group.
It's 2
2
more weeks.
more
I have
weeks.
exclusive scoop to everybody watching.
Yes.
You will get
2 more
Explain
weeks.
12 in 2 more weeks.
In 2 more weeks.
Just go back and watch.
Story.
Just
We're
come back and
sticking
watch
to it.
this episode like 2 weeks before it releases. Yeah, cool. All right, done. All right.
Right. There you go. So, as part of that announcement that they're getting Explain 12, of course, Laminar Research was talking about all of the next steps, I guess, with the scenery. For example, they're adding 3D trees, they're adding volumetric clouds, finally. Been on their butt about that one, too. And new weather, new lighting, all of that good jazz, da-da-da-da-da. But in order to start their entire presentation, and Tristan, I'm sure you're probably going to have this video rolling right about now, what do they decide to do? But the one thing that I have been bugging them in person and online for like the last, how many years has it been? When did we first meet them? Was it 2016?
It was 20. I think it was 2016, and I will completely vouch for this. So I remember you and we were shooting the shit with Bill Womack from I Blue Yonder, and then Austin comes up and takes over the show, and literally
As Austin usually does.
And this guy literally just turns to him deadpan and said, "Where's my Tomcat?" Like just
where's my Tomcat?
Just literally just deadpan straight in the eye. Went, "Where's my Tomcat?"
My God.
And I don't think Austin had ever actually been talked to by anybody like that before. I really don't think he had, because I don't think he knew quite what to do. But
it's been an ongoing thing. But you know what? I'm really freaking glad to finally see it. And needless to say, I had no idea any of that was coming.
None of us did.
So when I saw that video come out and whatnot, oh man. It was like I died and gone to heaven. It was just incredible.
I will
Thank you, officially Laminar Research. Thank you for finally giving me a Tomcat.
I was always perplexed by it. Was the one thing that always perplexed me about Explain 11 and Explain 10 as well, if I remember correctly, is that it had the Phoenix in there.
Yeah.
The Phoenix has been in there since Explain 10, which is, by the way, for those who may not know your military aviation history, literally there were 2 airplanes ever to fly the AIM-54 Phoenix. There was the F-14 Tomcat and the F-111B. That was it.
111.
Nothing else ever flew it. So we had the weapon, but nothing. But nothing to sling it under. And I was like,
no plane for it. And then, of course, big
they did the Microsoft in reverse.
When they were coming out with 11.30, and of course, eagle-eyed Drew, I spotted all those various data refs that they added in there for the Tomcat. It's like, you're really gonna dog me like that, huh? You're really gonna play me like that? You can put all these data refs in there referencing only one particular type of aircraft. Meanwhile, there's no aircraft to match it.
So
well, we have been having wing sweep for some time, right? If you go to the settings, the control settings, you have wing sweep for some time, and we don't have any. I don't remember
everything that they needed.
There are no default aircraft at least.
Yeah, everything that they needed to, except for some of the engines, specific data refs, and some of the avionics ones. Like it was there. Like you had the wing sweep, you had tail hook, you had catapult. I think what was the other one? There was one that they added in. I think it was the oleo crouch. I think that was one of the ones they added in.
Yeah, the kneel.
Yeah, the kneel of that, and it was like, okay, yeah, all right, where's the cat? So yeah,
I think they had that. I think they had a data ref for a flat spin. I think they had everything.
I like to be able to model that with blade element theories. So if they can't pull that one off, I'm going to be coming down really hard and doing this.
Actually, shifting away from Explain for a second there, but moving back to MSFS, I was very impressed when I did, like when I took the F-14 from DC Designs. Like I know it's not study level or the rest of it, but the fact that I did a compressor stall with that thing and put it into a spin, that was terrifying. I was didn't flat spin it, but it was like that when that engine went, I just the aircraft just went, and I was like, oh Christ! And I can only imagine what it would have been like in VR. Fuck. Anyway,
you should probably try it in DCS. That's all I will say.
Doesn't the B's not as susceptible? The B's not as susceptible to the compressor stall, is it?
It is. It can be. And typically, if you have like damage or if you've got a pre-existing engine condition that's degrading a compressor blade or whatever, yeah, you can have it. It's more in the A model, but remember, you do have the A model in the DCS Tomcat. Provided
they did put it in.
Model.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because it's been that long since I've even looked at it that I think I only have the B in there.
That is horror. That is just sheer horror. Being in VR, and then of course Jester, wise ass that he is, he's just like, all right, you know what? I'm out. So now you're free falling by yourself. Jester's like, nope, I'm not going to be Goose. I'm out. Bye. But that actually does bring to mind a very good point, and I'm hoping that Laminar Research has really done their homework on this. I don't expect this thing to be identical to Heat Blur, because let's face it, when it comes to Tomcat, nothing can top Heat Blur. Absolutely nothing. DC Designs, love you guys. You did a great job. Not even in the same ballpark as Heat Blur, which is fine. We knew that was coming.
Going to be. Yeah.
We knew that was coming. And with Laminar Research, yeah, I do expect them to take their scientific approach to it. But by the same token, it's a default aircraft. It's a stock aircraft. It's not expected to be a full, in-depth add-on. I'm trying to avoid those two words that I know Tristan hates. But yeah, it's not expected to be that in-depth as like your Heat Blur. But am I going to have fun with it? Hell yeah.
So that's
absolutely,
and that's a really interesting topic as well about that the depth, or what we expect out of default and sort of out of default aircraft, and what we expect and what we get, and it's funny that it's sort of a bit of a segue there as well, because I know that as well as the Tomcat, we're also getting a new tube liner coming into the Explain 12. I want to say it was the A340, or was the A330? A330. But even the systems modeling that they showed off there looked pretty good. And if there's something that I think we've learned, that that Microsoft and Asobo, and I'm going to caveat this by saying they didn't do this consistently across their default aircraft, but they definitely provided a lot more. There's a lot more to a default aircraft in MSFS than there was in FSX or currently in X-Plane 11 for default aircraft.
Right.
So I think that we've seen a bit of a shift in what is to be expected in the default, and I think you're absolutely right. Though, is that default aircraft are perhaps never going to be the model everything to the infinite degree, but they're still going to give a more involved and a more engaging simulator experience than we've had previously. So it's good seeing that, again, whether you like Microsoft Flight Simulator or not, that Microsoft and Asobo coming into the market with the new title, they're really lifting the game for everybody. And I think that's a really big important thing, is that we've seen, as I said, even if you're not into Microsoft Flight Simulator, that's fine. If you don't, but they've raised the bar for everybody across the board. And at the end of the day, we all benefit from that. And I think that's a good thing to highlight and cover.
I think that bar should have been raised from the beginning. I never understood this concept of, and this is something we all take for granted. This is something that you see on most sims, and people are just happy about it. Which is, default aircraft are never amazing aircraft. We take, if you look at some comments. on the internet, when people talk about certain model and someone goes and says, "Oh, what do you expect from a default model?" Or they make that comparison, "Oh, it looks like a default model," when it shouldn't. I don't think default models should be bad. I would rather have less models in a sim.
Yep.
But they should be the ones setting the example. They should be just pretty 3D models that are passable, just for you to have 10 or 15 aircraft in a sim. I think that developers, the guys that actually make the sim, they should set the example. And I would rather see less models, but better built. And whenever someone does a third party add-on, that should be the standard. That should be the bar, and they should try to at least reach it or pass it. I don't. I understand why, but I really don't like it. I don't like that concept of default aircraft being shitty, because that's a lot of the time that's what's happened.
And you're absolutely right.
Point.
Because I really love what you mentioned there, Sergio, which is this is the standard, this is the bar that's set, and again, and really, actually, DCS was probably the first one that actually sort of set the bar and said, these are the minimum standards you have to reach if you want to have if you want to be a third-party developer for this sim. With even with their base free map, you still get a fully combat capable, systems modeled, though non-interactive cockpit aircraft, but all the systems modeling and the flight dynamics are reasonably good. They're not 100%, but they're definitely a lot better than most of the other sims out there. And then you've got an extremely high fidelity flight model with all the systems modeling, just with no weapons. So I definitely agree with you, Sergio, that I think that the idea that default is bad is the wrong attitude to have. And it should be a benchmark and a standard. And I'm actually probably gonna agree and slightly disagree with you at one level, is that it shouldn't be that's the standard that third-party developers should reach. That's the standard that they need to exceed in order to be a third-party dev, particularly if you're charging money. That's something that I really believe, is that if I'm paying money for an aircraft, if I'm paying money for an aircraft or whatever, or aircraft scenery, whatever, then it needs to be of a better standard than what I get included with the base sim. And that's something that
and especially with like MSFS in particular. And let's not forget, this week coming up, I mean, according to my calendar, the time that we're recording this week coming up, the 18th, my birthday.
So everybody make sure you say happy birthday to Belgium. Yeah.
We've also got Sim Update 7 and what do they call it? The Game of the Year edition, in addition to the Reno Air Race.
Pack. Yep.
So again, we've got more aircraft that are coming into. If you're buying the Reno pack for like the $20, I think you get what? 4 aircraft or something like that?
4 aircraft along with the scenery, so you get 1 per class. You get 1 aircraft per class.
Okay. And then if you get the full thing, the 40 or 50 whatever dollars it is, you get 40 planes, which I guess are just variations on the theme.
But each one is custom and unique and different, and they fly differently. They have different power. They have different performance. So again, it really feeds into that this is the benchmark that's being set here. And while we're on the subject of MSFS, the Yonkers 52 that recently came out, like that is a really well systems modeled, and it's caught me unawares on more than one occasion. And there's a lot of detail in that release, and for that one, Microsoft's really set the benchmark and said, we can provide all of this level of detail and this level of systems engagement, systems modeling for $15.
I was pretty impressed with that. And normally I don't even go for that kind of. That was really cool. That really did. And that's the key thing. I do think that they do need to set a baseline, because, I mean, let's face it, all 3 of us have seen some real gems coming through the marketplace over the last year, shall we say.
Oh boy.
There needs to be a baseline, and Sergio is 100% correct. It shouldn't be that default is just like lowest common denominator. It should be default is the lowest level of quality assurance that we will accept. In other words,
yes.
It can't be passable anymore. It has to be CD quality. You know, we can't use cassette tape anymore. I know I'm like really dating myself. No, it can't be cassette tape. It can't be, vinyl. Although I'll probably put vinyl up there.
8-track maybe.
Right. Yeah, it has to be at a certain level or above.
And yeah, that's where I think that we have to be, and I'm sort of going to go as a slightly negative track here, that that being mindful of releases that come out that are topical, shall we say, or that that get released as like there's a news story about these certain countries' fast jets, and look, suddenly there's one in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's like, by somebody developer that has never developed aircraft before, and it's like, be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful of fly-by-night appearances. But so returning back to the conversation about benchmarks and standards again, and of course this week with the releases, so we mentioned Reno. So for the Microsoft Flight Simulator space, we've got the Reno pack coming out. We've got Sim Update 7, which is going to include a whole slew of new updates to the core sim again, which is, I still get blown away on a regular basis that this sim is receiving quarterly updates to its base code, like it's still under active development. And
we're so not even used to that, though.
Well, DCS
do you see how many people online are like, oh, they update too frequently? Dudes, you've been using FSX for how long? That's been such a stagnant platform. Unless you've been flying in DCS World or X-Plane or whatnot, you're not used to the fact that sims are supposed to be updated.
Even X-Plane, though.
They do.
Even X-Plane, if you're not in the beta branch, you were only getting, what, one update a year, maybe two?
Yeah.
And there were only fairly small, minor updates. It was only if you're in the beta branch that you got more.
But that's the thing. That's the thing, and I think that's what concerns people, is that you don't have the option to be. Yeah, that's a real problem. But that is a real problem because more often than not, and sometimes or most of the times because of user issues, because people fill their sims with stuff or they do something that they shouldn't be when installing. Well, it doesn't matter, but we're talking about non-sim related issues.
What?
Yeah, must have everything. Give.
Must put everything in sim, then complain why sim never launches.
Are you saying I shouldn't have Google Maps in my MSFS? That's a whole other thing that I'm not even going to address. That is all I intend to say about that.
Sim is dragging and lagging, and it's crazy. But most often than not, it's the user. It has something to do with the users. I think Microsoft should have a couple of distribution channels. You have the final release channel, or and the beta channel, for example, which would allow more people to test it, or at least perhaps make the updates non-mandatory. Because I do feel the pain of some of the users out there, because they sometimes they are just clueless about what they are doing wrong. I'm not criticizing them. They are guys that just want to have some fun with their sims. But for some reason, something goes wrong when updates come out and stuff breaks. And I can understand their pain. And they should be mandatory. I think that should be something that the user should be able to pick.
It's an opt-in, opt-out option rather than mandatory updates.
And if you're going to justify the fact that they are mandatory, because otherwise you won't be able, for example, to play with other simmers online. Okay, then just disable that option for people that are not on the current version. That's not a difficult or hard thing to do. So
sounds like
but
DCS,
I understand.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's the way it should work. That's the thing, because I know that for some guys this is really hard, and it's not their fault. Or it's not their fault directly. Yeah. That's the thing, right? Yeah, you do have the guys that feel the same with stuff and then go just like we were.
And they just want to complain. But they just want to complain. Like they
don't even understand it. That's the thing. We again. I'm just going to divert slightly just to say something that it is also related with what we just talked about, which is we bring all this shit on us. We bring the fact that default aircraft are the standard and we all take it for granted, and they can be completely shitty, but it's okay because it's standard. It's how it is. It's how, even dinosaurs had standard aircraft back in the days. So it's how we always have been doing,
Civil War runways.
We take it for granted. Yeah, we take it for granted that we need to spend $150 buying an airliner
which is wrong, but yeah, okay.
It's.
Sorry, I still can't stop picturing a study level pterodactyl.
You have the study level T-Rex with
Jurassic World 2, maybe.
Exactly. We take these things on us. We have to must have add-ons and fill the scenes with all the kinds of add-ons.
Yep.
We bring this to ourselves. Okay, but there are ways in which developers can mitigate these issues by at least allowing people to opt in on some stuff that can break the sim.
I think that and that is a really good point, and I think that it maybe is something that Microsoft could look at doing better and have it as an optional update. I do know though that they have started at least testing their sim updates earlier. And they do recruit regularly now in the community via the forums for testers of upcoming builds of the of any major sim updates. So for the sim update 7, for example, that's been in testing, like active beta, like closed beta with a number of non-Microsoft testers now for, I believe, 2 months. So that, at least, I think you're right, because that was Sim Update 5 was just as I said, I had very few problems with it, but it was a lot of issues were involved in that.
Somebody would have mentioned that to them at some point in time.
I know, right? It's almost as if somebody, during a preview event, a whole heap of people could have said something to them. Anyway, but we don't even get paid for it though. So, but yeah, Sergio, you're absolutely right, and I think it's that walking that fine line between finding a sim that works for you and however you want to sim, because and again, people, especially regular viewers of my channel, will know that I bang on about this on a regular basis, is that everybody's way of simming is valid. If you want to role play an airline flight from prep and brief all the way through to gate, then that is just as valid as the person who wants to jump in, throw the throttles forward and pull the stick up and go up to as high as they can. Like, they are both equally valid. And I know there are times where I've wanted to jump in to fly for something and I've forgotten there was a sim update, and it's like, well, I guess I'm not flying for the next 4 hours. So yeah, I agree that I think you're right that there should be an option for making sim updates optional, or at least deferrable, perhaps. But maybe, as I said, we saw them getting testers now, so maybe we'll see in the future for that.
All I can say is, Asobo, for the love of all things holy, the date that you've got this damn thing scheduled for this week, it better go smoothly. That is the only thing I wish for on that date. I don't care about age or candles on cakes. Make sure my MSFS works when I log in after I've had my celebratory birthday rum and Coke and a cake. That's all I want. I just want to be able to hop in and fly. That's all I'm saying.
And for those who are wanting a trouble-free guide on how to update your Microsoft Flight Simulator cleanly, total bit of self-promotion here. There is a video that would have just gone live on my channel by the time this goes live. Feel free to check it out. It breaks down all the steps and many of the issues encountered by the community and how to fix them in your sim. Go look. Anyway,
I'll be linking it all over the place. Every group I'm in, I'll be linking it all over the place. One thing that we forgot to mention too, as far as MSFS, the stuff that's coming, in addition to the whole Sim Update 7 and of course the Reno, which is a paid DLC, we're getting 5 new aircraft
for free.
The Sim Up, the Game of the Year edition. We're getting 5 new aircraft, one of which is the Super Hornet, the Rhino. All the people that have been asking for, like, military planes and whatnot, or more importantly, all the developers that have been waiting for pieces to the puzzle to put together a believable military plane. Now that's going to be there. That baseline, that standard is going to be there that, developers can work through. And granted, we still don't know about the carriers, like getting them to move or whatnot, but that's a huge step forward for them.
Yeah, it's
DC designs and all them.
It's the continual step forward. It's the moving forward. It's the putting the pieces together. It's the putting the building blocks in place. And absolutely, like having the Rhino. And I've heard good things from people who are testing the Rhino.
The one thing that I haven't heard much about, which I'm kind of curious, and I know, Sergio, you've got some opinions on this one.
Oh, man.
The Volocopter.
I'm scarred by all things eVTOL.
How that's coming in. Because you realize they're billing this as the stepping stone to having helicopters in Microsoft Flight Simulator, right? Is it really, though?
Can we have some cricket sound here, please?
I'm staying out of this because I have been scarred when it comes to eVTOLs in flight sims. I have been scarred, and I want to have nothing to do with them. So,
okay, let me just for the record, and I've seen people comment this on Facebook and
wait, hang on. Do I need
social media?
Am I channeling the hate? That's going to flow in the comments.
No, there's no hate. I don't think there's going to be any hate here. But if this is a stepping stone for helicopters, I don't want helicopters in Microsoft Flight Simulator.
No, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, because I haven't tried a volocopter. I haven't tried it, but drones are not helicopters. Helicopters don't behave like drones, and drones don't behave like helicopters. So saying that a volocopter is a stepping stone for helicopters, hell, no, it's not.
But element blade theory. Sorry, wrong sim.
It's not even me saying it. That's our buddies at Asobo.
I know. That's why I'm saying that if this is a stepping stone for helicopters, I don't want helicopters. I'll stop caring about helicopters.
Now you practically hounded the people for 2 years.
Doesn't have helipads.
I have. And
I watched you corner them. What about the helicopter? I watched this.
I am going to continue to until they actually do them properly. And look. Honestly, very honestly, I think that line saying that this is a stepping stone for helicopters, I don't even know if that's marketing or someone just decided to say that because, yeah, it takes off vertically. It's a helicopter. It's not a helicopter. Yeah, it's always marketing. You know that.
Hang on. So there was actually though, like, okay, so. That there was actually, though, some actual traction on helicopters in Microsoft Flight Simulator, was there not? In just the last week?
Yeah.
In just the last week. Like, and that was a surprising move.
It's a milestone.
I was really surprised that they managed to achieve that. Did you want to
I was as well.
enlighten our audience as to?
Yeah, of course. We had a major milestone for helicopter flight sims in which the fly inside Bell 47 is now on the marketplace. You can actually get the Bell 47 from within Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's not on the Xbox marketplace, it's just on the PC marketplace. But for a sim that does not support helicopters, that is the first helicopter in the marketplace. And if it's the first helicopter that Microsoft is officially recognizing as a valid add-on, and it's not there. You don't no longer need an external application to run it because everything goes inside the WASM plugin. So it's all embedded in the helicopter. No need for external things. And congratulations, Flying Side. It's really exciting.
So awesome. On a side note then, does that mean those of us with the old pre-marketplace version, will we be getting a revision update to the WASM module, or are we still going to have external third-party metal?
We still need the external version, but I know Flying Side is trying to figure out if they can have a way of giving people keys for the
store version,
the marketplace version. So yeah, but that is not a promise.
Sense,
yeah, that is not a promise nor a fact. Well, the fact is they are trying to check it out, but they can make no promises. So right now, yeah.
Good to know. Good to know.
But it's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, that is really huge, and that's something that I did want to cover is that, and again that sort of circles back around to what we were talking about before about seeing sims and seeing everything grow and seeing talking about many of the things that have been taking place in our little sim world. We sort of have to skip past prepared because crickets, like.
Oh my god. I was just gonna say, aren't they like long overdue? Isn't this usually around their time frame to do like the next incremental thing?
So next September. Next September is would be their next window to release a new sim.
I am curious. I really am curious. Well, I am and I'm not. Let me be very honest, because Prepared is not exactly the sim that I've been paying a lot of attention lately.
Well, there's been nothing to pay attention to with it. Like that's literally it. Like this, and
but that's why I'm curious. What is it that the kid? Let's say the same thing we always say in the disclaimer. Prepared is not a sim for us. Prepared is a sim for the professional market. They really don't care about the community, the hobby.
Correct. Yeah.
Let's just guys, whoever is watching this, and I still see a lot of people mistakenly thinking that Lockheed Martin is actively developing for the hobby community. Nope. It's not. Okay, so just stop it, guys, because it's not.
You're a bunch of paying beta testers. You're a bunch of paying alpha testers, by the way, folks.
Yeah, I'm very curious about it. What is it that Laminar Research is going to bring to the table next year that actually justifies a new version? Is this, again, like we were just saying in regards with Microsoft, the marketing thing? Is this a marketing thing?
Laminar or Lockheed?
Lockheed, sorry.
Okay, so yeah.
We're talking about Prepared.
We already know what Laminar is bringing.
We know what Laminar is bringing.
I'm curious about Prepared.
But it's a good question. Like, we don't know. And again, disclaimer on this one is that the comment before about new version in 2022, that's just based on their past release rhythm. That's not guaranteed. It's not set in stone. There definitely has been no comms from LM, and again, that's kind of why we're talking about it, because radio silence from them other than half-ass hotfix patch a few months ago. They just had radio silence from them, and that's something that is not helping them in this market. But conversely though, and you asked what they bring to the table, Sergio. So the funny thing is, and this actually ties back into what we were talking about before, what they bring in actually is stability. Think about it. Think about it. So DCS gets updated. Well, the beta branch gets updated weekly, bi-weekly. and the stable branch gets updated probably every month or so. You know, MSFS is getting updated at least quarterly, usually more often. X-Plane 11 is getting, and presumably X-Plane 12 will be the same. It gets beta branch gets updated probably every 1 to 2 months, and stable branch once or twice a year. Prepared, if it's after post-launch, it'll get maybe a couple of hot fixes. You'll get one service pack if you're lucky. That's it. So, what they bring to the table is stability, so that the people who go, "Oh, my sim's been broken," don't worry. They don't have that experience because their sim doesn't get updated.
That's the thing.
They're still running the same code, though.
Why do you need a whole new version for stability purposes? Why do you need a new version at all?
Because for bug fixes?
Prettier clouds, damn it. Haven't you been paying attention? MSFS comes out. DCS now has clouds.
That apocalyptic wasteland that was Prepared V5's clouds, that was such a shit show. Like... It boils down to, okay, and again...
Hold on. I need to have a moment of silence for my P3D install because it's no longer with us. I'm so sorry.
So, again, full caveat, full disclaimer here. Like, I work for LM. I don't work with the Prepared team, but, I work for LM. And so, but I'm not saying this, so I'm not saying this as an employer or anything. This is my personal opinion, but fundamentally, the last, other than V4, and even then probably V4.5, you're paying for bug fixes. Is what you're paying. They're evergreen. You're buying a new release and you're paying for bug fixes. It's one step away from software as a service.
Because there's nothing new, right? That's the thing. That's where I was trying to reach.
Yeah, exactly. Like until Prepared V4.4 came out, you could slap an FS9 model in there and it worked. Actually, sorry, I tell like Prepared V4 because the 64-bit code did break that. But yeah, but you can still slap an FSX model in there, and it'll still work.
Something's happening. Something's happening behind his back, and he has
second officer is confused because there is currely other cats in his normal perch.
Of the cats. It's a clash of the cats.
The Tomcat one.
Dude's like, I'm out of here.
I thought he was going to go fight on.
So there's no flight dynamics update on the sim for quite some time. I don't foresee any flight dynamic updates on the sim to be happening anytime soon, if at all, because we already reached the conclusion a long time ago that being a product for the professional market, what Lockheed Martin does is they either provide custom flight dynamics for the client or have partners developing custom flight dynamics. And that's one of the reasons, ladies and gentlemen, why helicopters still suck in prepared, even after a lot of the other sims have been doing them properly. And we have, and there are a few libraries that they can be using for helicopters inside P3D. Some of them are free. Why do helicopters still suck? Because if Lockheed Martin needs to provide the software to a client that uses helicopters, they will just build something specifically for the helicopter. So we're not going to see any updates on that front. And the last update that was actually an update was it V4 you were just mentioning that brought 64-bit?
That's dragged it kicking and screaming into 64-bit. Yes.
Yeah. That was the
and V4 was rushed. V4 was rushed because V4 should not have come out when it did. It should have stayed in the oven for another 6 months and then come out with 4.4. It was 4.4, 4.5 is what Prepared V4 should have been because it was 64-bit and had PBR. And dynamic lighting, and it's
that's the version that really earned its name. It's a major version.
Yep.
I don't even understand why V5 came out and why they called it V5 and why they charge people for V5. I didn't see anything on the changelog that really justified doing that. And I am extremely curious to see whatever is it that they are bringing to V6 that justifies people having to pay for the new version.
We know, well, I believe the reason why V5 came out when it did in that half-baked, half-assed shit show was, guess what? Guess who announced the release date?
Yeah, I know.
And literally they went, oh, crap. And they rushed it to market. And look, do not get me wrong. I will 100% back Prepared. Prepared is a fantastic platform. It absolutely is. I will bag the shit out of it on a regular basis, but it is a fantastic platform for what it is intended to be.
Yeah.
It is intended to be a system simulator. And as Sergio, as you pointed out, if you want flight dynamics, you will have them over a very limited part of the flight envelope, and it will be done as a custom module for a client. Now, for us home users, that basically translates to third-party add-ons, i.e., and the people who've done this well is PMDG and Majestic, because they've gone, let's inject our own code to be able to give a acceptable flight model. But they leverage off a lot of the systems modeling, which is native to Prepared, which systems modeling Prepared does really, really well, because that's what it's designed to be, a systems trainer. It is not a flight trainer. It is a systems trainer. And it does that really, 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 really well. But
as it should. That's the goal of a good product, right? Good product should do one thing really well.
Exactly.
That's the thing. That's the goal.
And yeah, as I said, look, fundamentally, and again, we sort of, I'll wrap this one up, because as I said, it's just, and like you said, I'd love to see what they're going to come up with, because I think again, personal opinion, not representing a company view here, but as a personal opinion here, I think we'll see them disengage even further from the wider community. I don't think you'll see them. I think they'll disengage even more, because at the end of the day, they'll know. I think that they've been using us as paying alpha testers for years, and I think they're just going to go, we're just going to focus on what we do well, which is government and corporate clients, and they're not going to worry about a paying beta testing branch anymore. That's what I think.
I don't agree with you. I don't think they're going to disengage even more. How is it possible to disengage even more when you're not engaged at all in the first place? Come on.
Speaking of developers who have ghosted people, has anyone heard hide nor hair from iPACS?
That was the other sim. So before the show, we were listing the sims that we were going to talk about, and sort of the state of the sim nation and everything. And the back of my head, I'm going, okay, explain MSFS Prepared
2.5 or 3 or
didn't they announce 3 not that long ago?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I can tell you, I have an Earth for my packs.
You haven't?
I haven't.
I feel like you've got a Twitch going. I feel like Sergio suddenly developed a Twitch here.
Yeah, I've got my spasms here. Yeah.
Can they start talking to the goddamn community as well, please?
Just talk to anybody. Talk to us. Have us talk to the community. I used to enjoy making my Aerofly FS2 videos. I've got nothing to show. I got nothing to tell the community. I'm tried to be your mouthpiece. Just tell me.
I tried to make liveries for them, and I tried to follow their documentation, which was a complete shit show. Like, people complain about the Microsoft SDK. Yeah, go and have a look at the Aerofly one. Yeah, go and have a look at that. I'm following it, and then I went, okay, and I went to the devs and went, hey, look, I'm following this, and I'm getting this result, like, WTF. And literally I got like a one-line response of, we don't do it that way, we do it this way. And I'm like, well, can you update your documentation to reflect that, please? And then I followed the way they told me to do it,
No.
and then exactly that literally was the answer I got. And then it's like, am I supposed to just learn by osmosis? And then I did it the way that this guy told me to do it, and it failed, and it didn't work. And I literally just went, you know what? I'm done, and I just walked away. So there were about a dozen liveries that I had ready to go for that sim, and only one of them ever got published because it was just such a fight to get anything to work in that sim. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
I gotta tell you guys, I like iPACS. I like the team. I've been in contact with a lot of different developers, them included. I have literally, and this is literally, I have literally sit down next to the CEO with a meal in front of us. I had dinner with him and the guys from VRM and what. And I told him that you may have look, you may have a slight communication problem with the community because we kind of don't know what's happening. We would like to know
that look right there.
Yeah, and we kind of we as a community, we would like to help you get the news out there. And I told them about, they already knew what I was doing because they brought me to check out the stuff that they were doing. And I told them about you, Tristan, and about you, Drew, and how much of a fan Drew was, and how much and the fact that Drew actually
know how much of a fan I am. I've got their entire catalog. Anything that comes out for Airfly FS2.
I love that sim. I love that sim. I love flying in it. It was so much fun. A little bit of a dead world, but it was so much fun to fly in. And it was it looked, until MSFS came out, it was the most sexiest looking sim out there, hands down.
And with an amazing performance, you can just use that stuff in VR, and it looks like you have infinite frame rates. It's just
it's the preeminent VR flight sim thing.
Yeah, no one was doing VR, and these guys, wow, it's a fantastic piece of software. Now, when I'm saying that I don't know anything about iPACS and Aerofly FS2. Let me just say this, this is not a huge secret. Yes, I do know some stuff that it's not public yet, but it's not a huge secret because if you go to the iPACS forums, they do mention they are working on something. And one of the things that you see there on a thread, without any more details, although I know a bit more of those details, is that they are working on 700 new airports. Okay, so there's something coming which is bringing 700 new airports for the sim, and it's not the only thing that they are working for. So there's stuff coming. We just don't know exactly what and when. I know a bit more of what. I have no idea when. I have no idea what is included in that, what is coming. But it is a shame, and I have told guys, look, you are your own worst enemies because you are. I understand how they work. They have their trade secrets, and they would like to do things at their own pace, so they don't want to announce anything and then have the community pounding as usual, because that's always happens in all sims.
Because our community is self-entitled. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I can get it.
When is my Apache coming, DCS? Yeah,
I cannot wait for people. I cannot wait for people to start asking when is it that X-Plane 13 comes out.
The day after X-Plane 12 launches, guaranteed.
The day after?
Exactly.
Really? You're going to wait till the day after? You mean the day of, right? You mean the day of, right?
Because the day of is going to be filled with, why did they break my sim? I can't get this sim to work. That's how it works. And then the day after is, well, when is 13 coming?
They shouldn't have released version 12. This is broken. What a shit show, etc., etc., etc.
But we demanded that you release it immediately, and now we're going to blame you for releasing it and giving us what we wanted by telling you it's unfinished.
Yes, and they're going to ask about the next version.
It's almost like we've seen this before.
Oh no, that's just a coincidence. Come on, Tristan. No, it always happens. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It always happens. It always happens with this community. Something comes up and people want the next version.
I,
They cannot
But
wait
even giving
for
the
the new
benefit of the
version.
doubt, iPACS, yes, we do understand everything that Sergio's saying. 100%. Boom, stand behind it, rock solid. That's all fine and well, but give us some kind of teasers or something to hype up, or like 700 airports is great, but tell me those 700 airports are not in California. Give me something to work with here, because I think we're pretty good covered in California.
We're good with Cali.
It's some of the other parts of the world.
And actually, and funny enough, using MSFS as an example here, I think this is where Microsoft kind of, and Asobo probably maybe more than Microsoft, actually do a better job. Again, they're not perfect with this, but they do a better job with this one of being like they're releasing the weekly developer diaries, or weekly, monthly developer diaries, still now. 13, 14 months after release, we're still seeing these regular updates. We're getting transparent information from them.
They are doing a great job. I have never seen in the simming community someone. Of course, they have other resources and money to do it.
Yes, they've got a bit more money and resources to throw at it. Absolutely right. But
you need money and resources. But I have never seen such an effective community and marketing communication strategy from any company in the flight simulation community. And I am just I like this stuff, as you guys probably understand, being someone that is involved in the community and in content creation and whatnot. I find this very interesting because I try to help some developers doing this, and I get, again, Christian, please, crickets. Okay, so we heard some crickets, which is the kind of response I have from a lot of developers.
Yeah, and
there are no crickets from Microsoft.
And I'm actually,
ED does the same thing every week with their newsletter.
Actually, I am going to jump in here because I know we have one viewer who's going to be immediately outraged about us highlighting how good Microsoft's communication is. So just. Okay. One in particular that I'm thinking of is that so the way that they handle bug reporting possibly could be better. And yes, acknowledged. I think that there is the way they handle the bugging and the bug reporting and the closing of bugs, when there's not actually closed, that could be better. That could be handled better. Absolutely, I agree with that. But again, like a lot of things, they're still engaging. They're still out there talking, and they're still showcasing stuff, and they're still working and listening to the community. Is it what all the community want all the time? No, because at the end of the day, you can't please everybody all of the time. You can please.
There are no perfect solutions.
Yeah, there are no perfect solutions. You can please. You can please most of the people some of the time. And I think that overall, with their shortcomings, that Microsoft, either way, even if they're, as I said, they're not perfect, but compared to everybody else out in the market, they are doing the best job out there. I really think they are. So again, so I sort of got to give, top marks to Microsoft for the way they've handled themselves throughout the year, particularly, with how they recovered from the Sim Update 5 issues and the community issues with that. Sim Update 5, Sim Update 5, Sim Update 6. We've also got to give, huge shout out to the Laminar research team for, announcing X-Plane 12 the way they have and actually taking on board certain things for the community, but also just special mention to Austin for just basically sticking to his guns and going, no, this is my sim.
Yeah.
We will still do it my way. Love him or hate him.
That meme that I keep
and they are doing.
Love him or hate him. Love him or hate him. The fact that he sticks to his guns and is like, no, this is my sim. You will do it my way. I still got to respect him for it. I do.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I just love it. People hate it, and people really hate when I say that. But I just love the fact that he doesn't care. It's his product.
It's his baby. It's his passion project, and if and you know what, that actually shows through. The and we're 11 iterations in, about to be 12.
And
I
let's be
know.
honest. Let's be honest. Let me be fair. I'm sorry, Tristan.
Mm.
Sorry for cutting you off.
No.
Just I feel like we need to be fair. And we were talking about Microsoft Flight Simulator and the fact that no one is doing communication as well as they are. Laminar Research has improved quite a bit of the years, and they have some people working on the communication. They have been more transparent. They have been more outgoing in regards with information. We have Ben Supnick giving information. We have other guys in the team providing information as well. We just saw some screenshots of some puddles on the runway yesterday, something like that. So there is information coming from Laminar Research. They are a lot more transparent than they used to, and they are doing a great job. They're not doing the same the job in the same size, the same dimension that Microsoft is. But again, it has to do
their
with
resources.
the fact that
Microsoft that's the team, their resources. So again, and again, that's what I say. They were great. Yeah. They're doing really well for that.
The thing with Laminar, their social presence is really strong. The same as, Microsoft Asobo. But the major difference is Laminar, when you talk to them online, it feels like you're in a mom and pop store instead of like a big department store or grocery chain. You can actually just sit there and, chit chat with the upper management and so on and so forth, because these are the people that are also just doing the work.
Which we have done, which as a thing, by the way, folks. Again, as we all highlighted, unfortunately, we were not able to get to any conferences this year as much as we would have loved to have done. That's actually a really important reason why to go to events wherever you are in the world. Whether it be in Australia, whether it be in Southeast Asia, whether it be in Europe, whether it be in America. So there is a Flight Sim Expo somewhere. Some form of exposition, some form of event that is, that has flight simulation involved in it somewhere. Go along, because the interesting juxtaposition of our industry is that of our industry, our hobby, wrong word there, our hobby is that, with the notable exception of Microsoft, but even with them, with the Sobo, they're still small teams. Like, it's still small groups of people that you're dealing and working with that are actually very passionate, that will go to these events and be part of them. And we can get involved, and we can sit down with people. You can literally sit down and and have a drink and chat with the developer of the live weather engines for the ESP and X-Plane platforms, where you can actually have lunch with the people who designed and make Honeycomb products, like where you can sit down and trade war stories about, air traffic control with the head of Iveo. Like, these events are where these kind of bonds happen. And, once, as the world's starting to become hopefully a little bit of a safer place and starting to open up a bit more, then these events are going to start coming back. So start getting involved. Find out where your local event is. And if you can, go along and support them. Because these events only happen because of you, the community, turning up, and your voice at those events matters more than you think. And that's
shapes the entire flight sim community. Right there is being able to talk to the developers yourself. You never know. One idea, just one idea that you have that you shared with whoever it is, could make all the difference for everybody in the entire community.
And that's why doing things like the Navigraph survey, even if you can't go to conferences, that's fine. But things like the Navigraph survey, it's really important to fill things like that out, because it will. A lot of developers that I know, and Sergio, I'm pretty sure you can probably attest to this as well, is that developers we talk to, their plans are shaped by what they see in that survey.
Yep.
That happens. There's a lot of data in there that guides where developers will focus their efforts. So just be an active participant in our community, and that's something I've banged on about notoriously before as well, is that if there's a bug with your sim, whether it's X-Plane, Prepared, MSFS, Aerofly, bad example.
DCS.
DCS. You know, if there's an error, if there's an issue, raise a ticket. Don't just bitch about it on social media. Actually, go to the support channel. Go to the support channels, the official support channels, and log a ticket, because that's how they get data. You can't fix something if you don't know it's broken.
Exactly. Yeah. And complaining on a completely unrelated Facebook group doesn't help. It doesn't help.
When you go to, still my favorite post to review, though.
Yeah,
I love those posts.
Can we? Okay, I don't want to name and shame here, but I kind of want to, but I won't. But there's a certain group that I know you both know about, because we're all in it, that claims itself to be the official insert simulator name here group. It's not, by the way. Like it's not. I disagree with the host of that Facebook forum group that calls it that, because that's gives a bad, wrong impression for a start. So slight rant, diversion. Anyway, but yes, so yeah, don't sort of vent about it on social media, as Sergio says, in an unrelated group. Go to the channels that the developer wants you to go to. Go to the website, raise a Zendesk ticket, and go support ticket, troubleshooting ticket, whatever it is. Zendesk is Microsoft's one.
Send an email. You wouldn't believe it how responsive Austin is to emails. You know, if you find an issue, send Austin an email, explain the situation. Perhaps it isn't even an issue or a bug. Perhaps he has a reason for something being happening, or perhaps it is a bug. I have found bugs. I have reported to Austin, and Austin replied to me in a matter of hours, and I was just impressed. You know, he's the guy that leads the company. He's the lead developer. He's the guy that you don't expect him to reply, or at least reply quickly, and the guy just goes back and forth, and he won't let it go until he's happy. I have seen that happen. It happened to me, and I eventually gave up, because when the man is right, the man is right, and he had data to prove the stuff that was happening. I did not, so I have, even if it felt wrong. The man has data. The man has science behind him too.
Science. Yes, science.
Blinded you with science.
I mean, it's charisma. Usually, it's either charisma or science with Austin. Anyway, so that's sort of where we're at with those ones. So that's a roundabout way of saying, be active and involved as well, folks. Like, as much as we want developers to talk to us actively more, as be more active with us, we kind of have a bit of responsibility to be active with developers too, because if they're not getting, active listening, you may have heard of it in school. If you're not actually actively involved in the conversation piece and actively feeding them back information that they need to know, then they're not going to be able to help us, improve the sim. So, and we're going to end up with things that we don't want, which nobody wants. We want all the things that we want, because that's how eventually somebody is going to get a Tomcat in every sim. So speaking of sims, is that I guess the other one for us to talk about is DCS, and I'm kind of going to have to throw over to you two gentlemen for that one, because I don't really know what's been happening with that one. There was a core sim update.
The only thing concrete that we know is coming is the Apache, right?
Had they done the clouds update when we did our last episode?
Yeah, the clouds are already in. Clouds have been in.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Clouds are pretty. You can see that on some of Drew's videos. So we have pretty clouds.
But clouds are pretty.
We have
working on more. They're just taking a little while. I'm working on more.
But you can make things go boom flower.
Yeah, lots of boom flower coming from Drew.
Yep.
We have some helicopters coming in. So we have the Apache coming in. We had some.
Hind is already in. I don't know if the Hind was in when we did our last episode.
I think it had just been released, because you've just been working with Petrovich. You've just been working.
Oh, that's right.
You've just been working with Petrovich. Yes.
He's been serving me well.
They have there has been a dev post or an update or something like that some time ago where they talk about the fact that, or was it an interview? something along those lines. I don't even remember
Mm.
what I saw it, but I did saw it. It was something that's officially sourced, and they were talking about the fact that they are working on developing the whole world for DCS, which is something that, from that interview, if I remember correctly, they have been working on for a year and a half already, something like that.
At least 2 years, yeah.
Yeah,
I think Wags was the one who had mentioned that. Yeah,
I'd heard that. I'd heard that about 2 years ago, and then everything went quiet. So I figured it was just scuttlebutt.
They're working on it.
It was
they're working on it. It's quite. People have no freaking idea. They have no freaking idea how hard it is to just do a terrain in a sim or a game or whatever you want to call it. It's a game engine, so let's call it a game.
Particularly if it's destructible terrain like it is with DCS, like with everything being destructible.
Even if it's not, just show me the terrain. Just give me a map. It's hard enough to do it on when it's limited, like DCS has, because there are all sorts of different issues in regards with loading stuff into memory and then doing calculation, floating point, and all that stuff that breaks shit. Let alone do the whole freaking world. That's just absolutely. It's terrible for a developer to do something like that.
It's such a challenge for them, yeah. So I mean, but that's
it is.
And that's
it is.
Yeah.
And,
so they get it. They're making
I've seen that happen with a few developers. They eventually give up. But look,
you burn out because
just give me. We have a fine example, and I know Drew remembers this, and I think you may remember as well, Tristan. But I know Drew remembers because I think Drew actually saw it and tried it on Flight Sim Expo, I think. What is it called?
Flying Sides. Oh, Dead Stick. Right. That's right. Because Flying Sides simulator as well.
Yeah.
So
Dead Stick has been dead on the, sorry for the pun, but it has been dead on the water for quite some time, exactly because of terrain.
Yeah. I mean, that was such a, because he looks like he was super close to release, and then suddenly all the screenshots got pulled, everything got pulled, and then next thing you know, it's being we're seeing new screenshots that look very, very basic, but they still look pretty, but they were like, okay, you literally started again. And then I've heard, so
like, what's going on there?
Yeah, you have a little thing there, Tristan.
So then I saw the developer and the publisher parted ways, and it was like, and then there's been nothing for over 12 months now, and I'm like, it's dead. And that's such a shame, because that is because a shame. I missed my chance to fly that sim at because that was the expo that I couldn't make it to. That's right, it was the first one I couldn't make it to, and I was
that game looks incredible. That game looks incredible. Yeah. Chris Cheatham, the lead guy, the guy that owns the company, is a great guy. I met him a few times in expos. I have chatted with him on the internet a few times. The project is just amazing, guys. It's really nice. He has shown me a lot of cool stuff. He eventually has shown on videos as well. You could actually drop stuff on the aircraft, and the aircraft would actually dent, and the wing would dent, and you could actually.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's right. You get a fully deformable damage model in the aircraft as well. That wasn't pre-structured.
Exactly. So you would have to actually fix the aircraft. You could customize the aircraft. It was very. This is not a plug or anything like this, but I think that two old guys like
nothing to plug now.
No, because I'm going to say something which is the game. And I know you guys know what I mean when I say this. The game was very micro-prosy.
Yes.
It was those kind of games that it's really, and again, no plug here, but it's that kind of game that it's going to suck you in. Yep. And that was the impression that I had with Dead Stick when I saw the game and talked to Chris, and he showed me some of the systems, and I was like, oh man, this is really cool, because we can actually transport cargo from A to B,
and it was
but
carrying it.
You needed to actually put it inside the aircraft in the right position so that you don't screw up your CG. So you could bring stuff, but you had to actually put it in the aircraft in the right place. And then you had the terrain was beautiful. The aircraft flew really nicely.
Just making me sad, man, because I still want to play that damn thing.
I am sad. And you guys know
you're making us all sad here, Sergio, because that's possibly the greatest flight sim that never was.
Yeah, but I hope it's still
I hope maybe he resurrects it somehow.
I hope. But I just wanted to say that the major factor, and this is coming from what we already. So this is not something that was privately said to me. This is something that is public because it's out there on developer blog. All developed. The main thing that screwed the game was terrain. Was the fact that they were having issues with terrain.
I remember
they had to actually code the terrain streaming because Unreal doesn't support it. I was talking to another developer from another company some time ago about different game engines, and we were talking about Unreal. And one of the things that developer told me was, when you need to develop a garbage collection, and this is a bit technical, but a lot of you guys that are on the IT side probably know this. When you need to write your own garbage collector for you to be able to use it on a game engine, you kind of start suspecting things won't go very far. Right. So garbage collection pretty much is a system, is a way for grabbing anything that's considered garbage. When you allocate things to memory, there are some things that you don't need anymore. So that's garbage. So you need to take that out of RAM. Otherwise, you'll start getting memory leaks and out of memory errors and stuff like that. And when you need to, and this is something that engines should do by themselves. Okay, I'm not going to use this anymore, or I have a quick way to dispose this. Let's just free the RAM and let the game do things. When you need to do that, and I'm not saying Unreal Engine is bad. It has nothing to do with it. It's the fact that it doesn't deal with huge terrains that well. So yeah. Just to say that the fact DCS has been working on this for a couple of years, it's normal. I would say that they were probably going to keep on working this for perhaps a couple more, very honestly. But
so instead of 2 more weeks, we're up to 2 more years.
3 more years. This is It's still in twos. It's still the power of twos.
Yeah. Well, you got it. Yeah.
But this is one of the things, that really excites me about the future of DCS. And this is something that we want. There are 2 things I want in DCS, really. One of them is flying the world, of course. And the other thing is the ability to actually play as infantry. The day we do that, and the day that we have friends boarding helicopters or transport aircraft or being able to parachute,
I'm looking at that look from Drew right now because I know the pain that he went through trying to get AI to board a goddamn helicopter.
No,
the video's still not out. How many episodes have we done where I've said I've been working on that episode? It's still not done.
Perhaps
it probably never will be.
You are not using artificial intelligence. You are using artificial stupidity. Perhaps you should switch to AI.
Switch the you got the toggle switch on the wrong setting. It's down, not up.
Yes, it is AI. The A is dead on. It is totally artificial. The I,
not so much. Not so much. And you're right. Terrain is a challenge, and that was funny enough. And sort of circling back again with Prepared V4, that was the big thing about Prepared V4 because it was able to. They rewrote their code to their garbage collection code so that once you left the scenery area, it would actually then dump all that scenery that it had loaded in, which FSX and previous iteration was to hold. So, absolutely, you're right. Scenery is a bane of any sim that has the world in it, because there's a lot of the world, funnily enough, And,
The
whereas
world is a
something
good
like
place.
it is.
Yeah.
And whereas, an Unreal map is used to being a couple of square kilometers at most in a first person shooter, and suddenly to be able to put in several hundred square kilometers is just like so yeah, but that's actually a great segue to sort of round out this episode of the Three Grumpy Simmers, because reflecting on yes, we've reflected on the simulation, and now Sergio's made us all slightly teary eyed because of the sim that the sim that never will be, the sim that may never will be. The three of us want to pay pay respects. That's possibly the wrong phrase there.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
they're
okay.
not
So they're
dead.
not dead. They're not dead. No, but we want to acknowledge the contributions of some really huge personalities in the simulation space, in the content creation, the social, on the content creation, YouTube, and Twitch space, for flight simulation, that have they have hung up the headset. They have hung up the headset and turned in their wings for the final times for their content creation careers. So we do want to acknowledge the huge. They may not always have been the most popular, the most liked, the most some one in particular was incredibly controversial. But the acknowledgement and of the contributions that Matt Davies, that Frugal, and that Cat Strader, the
And Flight Sim Guy.
and Flight Sim Guy as well, and Flight Sim Guy as well. The contributions that those four individuals made to our genre and our hobby over the last many years is undefinable. And the lengths that they would go to be able to provide you and provide us the entertainment and the information to be, to improve our flight simulation experience is something that cannot be overlooked, cannot be underestimated. And with those individuals all hanging up and basically calling time on their content creation careers, it's a changing of the guard. I think is
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
is what sort of springs to mind here. Is that we very much have a new generation of content creators coming through. And we wish them all the best of luck. And yeah, we just wanted to acknowledge the contributions that were made by those who have come before, as it were. We have all been fortunate enough to be able to work with many of those. I think just about all of them at some point or another.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing about it as well, too, is the fact that we're talking about folks that, for the majority of people that are watching this particular video, you may be used to the names because, well, they were just really popular, but they're human beings as well. And by and large, the reason why they're no longer doing this is because life happens.
Yes.
Things change. Look at this show, for example. How many months has it been in between episodes? Folks, life happens. We can't guarantee one day to the next if any of us are ever going to be here. So don't take any of this for granted. And these guys are all friends, well, for the most part. I think there's only one on that list that I really don't know, but the others I can vouch for are friends,
So yeah, so we just want to acknowledge that and say and yeah, for us, so life has happened for us as well. We're not going anywhere. Don't you worry about that. We're not going anywhere. Not least
planning on it.
Now people are now. Oh crap! Damn.
Pretty much. I think that there was probably the people who managed to watch this video this far were probably going, God damn it, we thought they were going to announce they're retiring. Sorry, folks. Sorry to disappoint. We're going to be back and crankier than ever in the future. Don't worry about that. But folks, that is going to round out our State of the Sim Nation summarization of the last few months and the immediate future as well. So thanks very much for joining us. Folks, we will be in endeavoring. Now, normally we do a Christmas episode where we do a bit of a crystal ball, but due to, again, real world, it may not be possible for us to do that this year. We are going to try, so please stay tuned to the channel and keep an eye out for it. But yeah, it may not happen, but keep an eye on your socials, and we will do the best we can, but no guarantees. And if we don't see you this year, then we will see you back next year, but keep an eye out, and you never know, you might be a chance to win some things. All right. Well, folks, that's it. That's it for another round of grumpiness. Definitely less grumpy than I think the last episode was. But if you want a bit of my grumpiness, if you want a bit of my grumpiness, definitely check out my last Nova app, because just watch the first 15 minutes of my last Nova app before this one aired. Just watch that. Yes. Grade A1. Nova losing his shit. That was. Anyway, so we want to say a huge thank you to you, Sergio, from helisimmer.com for joining us.
Thank you very much, Tristan. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to Tristan's channel. Just click the thingy and go check all the links and all the information. The thingy, you know, that
the thingy. Can you tell that we sim and we don't do social media well? Can you tell this? Can you tell this at all? And of course, thank you very much to the gentleman that cannot keep the Tomcat sized grin off his face, because he's finally getting his goal of Tomcats in every sim. Mr. Drew Belgio, thank you very much for joining us.
iPACS, I'm looking at you. You know, we need to work on this.
Yeah, because iPACS doesn't have an F-14.
Exactly.
When they become active in the sim again, we'll talk. So, folks, don't forget to check out helisimmer.com for all your latest sim and rotary winged news. And make sure you check him out on YouTube and give him a like and a subscribe. And of course, for all of your best storytelling across sim platforms galore, check out Mr. Belgiode and his channel for your greatest entertainment as well. And if you're here, maybe, as Sergio said, chuck this channel a bit of a like and a subscribe, maybe a bit of a support.
Click the thingy.
Click the thingy. Can that be our new catchphrase now? Click. All right, folks. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. Take care. Stay safe. It's been a wonderful year, and we'll see you again. And here you go. Apparently, I have got another tail this now. So, folks, thanks very much for joining us. Take care. Safe skies to all. Be awesome humans. It's been the Three Grumpy Simmers. Take care. Safe skies to all, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.
Goodbye, guys.